Hey there, folks. Well, as I speak, the people of Los Angeles are in a pitched battle with an assortment of just the most cowardly thugs in law enforcement, and it's getting pretty ugly. I've read of the police firing tear gas canister guns directly into crowds indiscriminately, even though you're never supposed to point those things at a person. All kinds of people are getting tear gas that did nothing wrong. There's one guy who's just happened to be there at a stoplight, for Christ's sakes, in his car. Not hurting anybody, but he witnessed them ready to do a raid, presumably. This is ICE, International Criminal Organization known as ICE. Apparently to do one of their raids, but then they saw that a whole bunch of people were watching, flipped out, and then just started shooting the tear gas everywhere. This is edging ever closer to my nightmare of this situation, which is that one of these assholes, one of these fuckers, is going to open fire with an actual weapon. I mean, I've seen the footage. These guys have, like, submachine guns. They hug them close to themselves in a way that makes me feel very, very unsafe around them. Because these are exactly the kind of undertrained, overconfident assholes that will pull the trigger just because they're afraid of the people and shoot into a crowd and then bedlam, to put it mildly. And so I, and presumably the rest of the world, am rather tense. It's if I'm finding it hard to slow my thoughts down enough to express them. They're just running around in circles in my head. I will note that the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, and the mayor of LA, I believe named Mayor Bass, I think, and the head of the LAPD are all in accordance that the National Guard was not called in, and they're not supposed to ever go anywhere without having been called in by the state, at the very least. They do not consider the protests to be worthy of intervention, otherwise the LAPD would be doing it themselves. So, at the very least, the record is going to be clean there. No one in an official capacity thinks that this was a riot before government thugs came in and started just shooting tear gas everywhere. They're the ones that escalated this, not the people. One irony that's occurred to me is that, well, I guess it's going to be 2 years in a row when LA is burning. Only this time it ain't global warming. Speaking of the people of LA, they're going to win, obviously. There isn't enough law enforcement in the world to stop the people once they're aroused. It's what I've been saying for a long time now. If the people of the world are sufficiently aroused to anger, there is nothing the elites can do to stop them. Someone posted some stats on Blue Sky showing that even if every single law enforcement officer in the greater LA area were all called into this fight, that's like 100,000 people. The greater LA area has 16 million people. So, kind of not really a fight. In fact, one of my worries is that if one of these idiots in ICE, one of these fucking thugs, opens fire in a crowd, ICE will get torn to pieces. Crowds can do that. It's very ugly. I would hate for things to go that way. Because not only, do I not want these young men and women to die. They're on the wrong side of history, but that's not a capital offense. That would be bad politically. The ideal situation, which is of course impossible when things get this bad, the ideal situation would be for everyone to just passively resist. Not fight back, not throw rocks at cars, punch a cop, or any of that. Now, if you menace people this badly, they have to fight back. It's human nature. And this is not an organized protest movement where everyone's on the same page and has agreed to behave. But still, in theory, it would be awesome if nobody fought back, and then you have the beauty of passive resistance, which is that it makes it absolutely crystal clear to everybody in the world who the aggressor is. If you don't fight back, it's not a fight, it's not a war, it's not a struggle, it's an act of aggression. Period. Right now, sadly and inevitably, the police can say, oh, well, look at these violent thugs, of course we had to come in here, even though they started it. And, of course, lots of people are arguing, well, this was the idea all along. Provoke people into fighting back and then use that as an excuse to declare martial law. If so, they're even bigger morons than I gave them credit for, because they started in LA. And apparently they're also starting shit in New York, too. I don't worry about a fascist takeover of America if it's being done this badly, because Americans, while by no means perfect, can be relied upon to fight back. They are feisty. They are cranky. Perfectly willing to tell authority to go fuck itself. It's one of the more admirable traits. And so, these are not the people that are going to just fall in line like sheep just because you wave a gun around. Thanks to the right-wingers, they can show up with more guns than the law enforcement ever has. And shit, you'd be surprised that they had got their hands on. Now, of course, if this was the entire federal government, well, they've got the Army, and Navy and Marines, and etc. But that's not going to happen. I'm pretty sure that if the Trump government tried to send the actual military and not the National Guard, about which there is some ambiguity, they wouldn't go. They've all been trained to refuse unconstitutional orders. They would just say, no, we don't do that. Plus, there's the Posse Comitatus Act, which forbids the use of the military for law enforcement. So unless you can prove you've been invaded by, China, the military ain't going anywhere. That's how I know that people are going to win. People are talking civil war. No, it's not civil war. In order to have a civil war, you need two even sides. This ain't the North versus the South. Like I said on Blue Sky, this is basically the entirety of Major League Baseball versus one guy with a wiffle bat. It's not even close. I guess with the rest of the world, I'm just waiting to see how this all shakes out. Well, I guess I've babbled out enough of my worries to calm down a little bit at least. So I should probably wrap this up. I guess that's all for me for today, folks. I'll talk to you nice people again tomorrow. Bye-bye.